This video is going to show a solo Grandmaster Nightfall getting Platinum rank for week 2 of GMs, which this week it is Proving Grounds, and this video is going to show you how to attain it easily solo, or in other words, using the meta, which this is almost certainly the meta in my opinion. So, the loadout, as you saw, was a Kinetic Tremors Scout Rifle, best in slot Scout Rifles this season for anti-barrier if we're not considering exotic primaries. Then we're using the Velocity Baton, a God Roll, as I say, I've mentioned last week about it all, and Anarchy, because Anarchy can kill both barriers and unstoppables because of the artifact mods. So we're using all the bells and whistles on the artifact as well, the best artifact mods that you can do, and we're pairing it with the chest plate, Rime code Raiment, I believe it's called or something. Basically, it enhances the stasis turret. Right, and it's just absolute crazy how much damage it puts out. So I highly recommend Prismatic Warlocks. Swap off your Getaway Artist. I think this is better than Getaway Artist, because just the amount of sheer damage that the stasis crystals will do to priority targets, i.e. champions and stuff. So there, you'll see on the left hand side there's a ability surge, and then there's the void hunger. There's a unique modifier, which actually it's been in the game for a bit, but it's on the basic strikes, so no one ever thinks about it, but it's on Grandmaster. It's called Void Hunger, I believe. It's to do with Savathun, something about giving you a worm, and basically, look, Void Starvation. So basically what's happening is, if you attain the bar on the left hand side with Void damage, you will then fill up a meter and then get an ability surge buff to your abilities, right? For let's find out when it comes up. I think it's 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. We'll find out when it comes up, because obviously this modifier is completely new to me. I know well, I do know about it, but I just haven't played with it. Now look at how much it fills up with Baton. This might be one of the best weapons in slot, because it does damage over time, of course. This area denial GL. So it's filling up the void starvation meter so quickly. So we'll work to the back of the map. We're going to take down this unstartable, get a turret down. You know, we can get plenty of turrets down because of the ability surge when we keep getting it. So I can't believe how good Baton is for this mod. And it's just by chance. I have no idea. Look at this. I had no idea. We're weak here. We have to proc devour. We're good. We just got knocked by the unstop. So I didn't have this planned for Baton to do what it's doing in this video. So look at your rolls. I highly recommend it for this, just because of the amount of ability surge that you get when it procs. Just I'll point it out each time. So we're literally just steaming through this. As I say, it's a meta run, so we will. But obviously it's to point out the chestplate. So if you have not got the chestplate yet, make sure you go and focus it with an exotic cipher. A Cryptarchy is a priority. It's an absolute priority that you go and do it. Now, there'll be an unstoppable spawn outside of that blue door, which we're waiting on. We're getting another turret down. We're taking advantage of this ability surge to the maximum. And we'll pop a Transcendence, because Unstop's going to spawn. We'll get a good Void nade on spawn. That's a good spawn nade, that. Because obviously the next Unstoppable is going to spawn from there. We get the stun. We're using cover to our left. It's isolating the adds away from the boss. The boss can't hit me, which, by the way, this boss has been fixed. For years upon years, he could never melee or stomp you. He can now do that. When that was fixed, probably 12, 14 months ago, I don't know when it was. It was a while ago now when they fixed it, but we haven't had Proving Grounds as a GM, I feel, for ages. So it's not something I've actively been thinking about. So yeah, this loadout is perfect as well for getting Transcendence energy, because of Kinetic Tremors and the area of effect damage it does. It gives you so much Transcendence energy, so I'm always getting Transcendence. I'm frequently getting my super because we're solo, and we always will do. And we're having a good uptime on our abilities. So we can't go wrong with this. See, what you need to realise with Proving Grounds is that you need to have a lockdown build on. That to me is best for Proven Grounds. It's not so much, you know, Prismatic Titan will do well in here. It's not that it won't, but I think Warlock will shine better. So any sort of lockdown build that you can think of does well at Proven Grounds, because there's times when you've got to stand your ground. So standing your ground with a build like this is going to make those critical moments that would be difficult for people easier. So when you've dealt with that encounter, make sure you fill up on ammo. You can skip past these, whatever they're called, with the skimmer. Make it quicker. We'll get to the next section. So the first section's no problem, no big deal. You know, it's easy to deal with. It's the double tank room which is going to make or break people, and I feel as though that's where people are going to die and give up. There's a lot of people I've talked to in the past, they've only ever got to the double tank section, and that's enough for them, and they don't try the solo on this again. Have no fear though, because now the double tank room for Proven Grounds is a lot more easier than what it used to be. When Proven Grounds first came out, it was literally one of the hardest GMs in the game. Because it was anti-barrier auto rifle the season that it came out. It's weird I even know that. I know that because I had to keep auto rifles for it. But yeah, we've come a long way since then. So the double tank rooms are too bad. So get a turret down in mid first. Do not drop down. This is key. Do not drop down. If you want to do the double tank room easy, then follow the steps. First, look at your enemy type. Now, with the new Banes, you will get a Bane in this room. It can be Meteor, Shock, Drain, all that stuff. I don't think healing. I don't think you can get healing on I haven't had healing yet today in this room. Maybe you can, I suppose, because it's randomized. So I suppose you can. You don't want healing. That would be the worst, I suppose. Maybe Drain would be the worst, because that tether that they do on you is actually atrocious. What I've noticed as well with Banes is that the Meteor one is more common in Proven Grounds because the boss does a Meteor attack. So I believe they've probably done that on purpose. Even though it's randomized Banes, I've had more Meteors than anything else. Like, look, we've got a Meteor guy. So we have no super, and it is a bit dicey. We've took down both vehicles from up top, which I recommend that you do that, because it allows freedom of movement a little bit when you take the vehicles from up here. We're going to put a turret down first, then we're going to get behind this pillar, because there's two snipers alive, we haven't dealt with them, and our priority is to get this Meteor guy dead and do what you can. Pop Transcendence I could have done, but I didn't, because I didn't need to. We were good enough. We were good enough to meet the grade on that. It's critical we got that Meteor guy down, because if you don't, it's going to be an absolute nightmare trying to deal with snipers, barrier champs, while Meteors are chasing you. Now we can work with the room. Now you can have something to work with. So now we can work on snipers left and right. Choose a piece of cover, left or right. I like to work from the left. It's just where I like to work from. But there's a shield on the right hand side, the exact same as this. Identical. So it's up to you. We have another major target in middle. Now the VIP targets are RNG. So we had a Solar dude and an Arc dude. You might get a Scion. You want the Scion. Ultra Scion. If you get him, that's easier for you. If you get the Colossus, well, you're going to have to melt him down and quick, because he will be a problem to you until you deal with him. You need to deal with things in order in this. It's not just a case of, oh, I'm going to do ad clear. Yeah, but how are you going to do the ad clear? In which way and which manner are you going to do ad clear? It's not just a case of having good ad clear. Structure it in such a way, key targets, and work your way in a methodical way right round the room. Next goal is legionaries and the sniper on right. But the legionaries are the next issue, not the barriers, because the barriers are not enraged. The barriers will become enraged when they see you. So that I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to pop a nade right on top of their heads and debuff with GL. Maybe do another one to fill up that Void Hunger. Look at the Void Hunger. Now we have an ability surge. Now pay attention to left-hand side ability. We would actually better not to pop Transcendence there, because I would have got another turret. But it's alright. It is what it is. That's fine, because the Transcendence is OP as well. Someone the other day said there's no point to run debuff on Transcendence because GLs give you debuff. That is the wrong answer, sir. Whoever that was, politely tell you that's the wrong answer. See, the reason why I brought that up as a topic is because what you need to realise with Endgame D2, debuffs and buffs are king, and if you can get them via multiple sources, that is debuffs and buffs. If you can attain buffs and debuffs via multiple sources or aspects of your build, that is better. It's always better than anything else you can think of. Always, always, always. I know there's facet of command, and I know there's all this sort of stuff you can do with reloads. Big deal, dude. I can press square and reload. No problem. I don't need to use facet of command. I don't need to use anything else. Each aspect I have on serves its purpose. You can make slight alterations there, here and there, but you're not taking Radiant off. If I was like trying to teach you and you're like, oh, I'll take Radiant Fragment off and run something else. No, put Radiant on. You're just being silly. Put Radiant on. Have Facet of Dominance on. Because just being able to do extra damage via your Transcendence, it's valuable. It's an extra super. Which is why Prismatic is broken, because it's essentially got 2 supers. Right? So the play is always to buff that super. Another aspect of it is resistance. Make sure you've got the resistance Prismatic Fragment on. You must put that on when you're doing endgame. This isn't planet stuff. This isn't kindergarten EDZ stuff. This is your solo GMs, which aren't meant to be soloed by Bungie's words. They're not meant to be soloed when they first ever created them. So, look. You know, if you're somebody who struggles on this stuff, then run the meta. And the fragments that I have on are the meta. Somebody who's an expert, they can start to slightly, make adjustments and do crazy things. But for the rest of you, no, run the meta. So, we'll get a turret on left when the last VIP target is taken, which in this case was the vehicle, right, add spawn. We need to get to left immediately with a turret right away for this strat to work. Then we're going to get another turret and we're going to basically abuse the ability surge thing. Because we can keep getting turrets with it. So when I first read this mod, this ability hunger thing, I was like, oh, this is going to be absolute nightmare. Because there's a downside to this void hunger debuff. I'll tell you in a minute after this tank thing. So we just keep doing damage to the tank whilst we're in our Song of Flame. So we're not using Song of Flame, we're exposing it for Radiant. We're using the Radiant part of the element of the super to do extra damage. It's not for, melee or grenade. And we can activate a Devour via our Song of Flame if we need to, like I did before, but other than that, your focus is the double tanks. So with this loadout of Baton and Anarchy, the combo of them both, you can essentially deal with both tanks on this side. I have had to do a rotation there though, because if you paid attention you would see that the tank started doing its Omen missiles, which when Proven Grounds first came out it was a myth on how it actually occurred. The Omen missiles, not the direct attacks. Because I remember seeing videos about it. Basically, if you're in close proximity, 10 to 15 meters of the tank, and the tank sees you, I know the tank hasn't got eyes, but just open your mind for a second. When the tank sees you, the laser, and you are within that radius, he'll do a direct attack, but he'll also do the Omen missiles. The Omen missiles are deadly. Now, I'm having bad luck here on rotation, because the barrier and the sniper was giving me problems. So I'm going to rotate all the way right. Whenever in trouble like that, rotate. Now, there is the snipers to kill, and I know, but my loadout isn't favourable for it. The snipers would take at least 6 to 7 shots to kill with my scout. That would take a lot of stationary downtime of me shooting them while we do map rotation. Don't do it. It's better to just outrun them, and do map rotation from left to right if you're in that situation where the snipers are still up. So that is one disadvantage to the doing it this way, where we melt down the 2 tanks, is that you're playing with fire a little bit because of the snipers. But look, do your map rotation. Make sure that your Warlock skating's on point, or if you're on Titan, make sure you got good movement round the map, but cycle between left and right. I think we got unlucky because the barrier was on left and I couldn't push left. That's what messed up my strat. But there's a bit of RNG with barriers and stuff like that. They can do stuff like that. But when you get the double tanks down, that is your ultimate goal, because then everything is easy. Congrats, you've won. You have won. You've auto won the GM, that is it. Because now the AI directive of the ads is to move to the back of the map. They will hug the barrier. Now we're going to use Radiant here because we may as well. Now Anarchy gets barrier, right, with Song of Flame, which makes it absolutely OP. It makes a lot of stuff OP, I'll tell you, but we're going to decide to melt one barrier and the VIP, because the VIP will be a nuisance to us when we try and deal with the barrier. So I prefer to have dealt with the VIP because he's going to chase us. Then we can isolate barrier. He's the last ad to kill. The room is done. We have won. Let's clear up any war beasts because there's a couple of them. They surprised me earlier on. But that's fine, we got it. So what I'm going to do now is stall for time. So look at the amount of orbs I make with this baton, with the attrition orbs roll. Which, by the way, is a easy roll to get on the old RNG system. I don't know if they've fixed RNG perks today, or is it next week? Is it next week? I don't know what the date is, because you know what I'm like with twabs. I'm the worst player in the world for twabs. I don't read them. I barely read them. I know that we're getting god rolls for free or something. That's not today though, is it? That'll be next week or 2 week or whatever the hell damn it is. Like, why isn't this is going to come to the next issue. We need in-game twabs like Warframe. Warframe has in-game twabs. I know it's not called twabs, but they're called hotfixes. Warframe has a console on your ship. You go in it and you read it on the game. Destiny needs a pedestal or a monitor that you go to, and it brings an online page if it must, right? It brings up an online page. So for whatever, if you're on PS5, it'll bring up the web browser. If you're on PC, whatever, and it just brings it up right away, and then people start looking at stuff. You might not think that's an issue, but it would be handy to have in-game stuff like that. Patch notes and history patch notes, because there's a lot of stuff that changes in this game, and being able to view archived hotfixes and buffs and supers, keeping an eye on all that stuff. I don't care who you are, none of you can keep an eye on all 26 supers that we have, and looking at where they have been buffed and debuffed over the years. It's impossible to remember it all. Like, I'm on about percentages, numbers, I'm on about that sort of thing. I'm not on about, I can't be bothered to go on my phone. That's not it. I'm just saying, let's have some archival twab stuff, patch notes in-game. It should be in-game by now. We're 2024. We're not 2014 anymore. They can almost certainly do what I'm asking. So that section also had a meteor. When we freeze a meteor target, a bane that is, we need to make sure we melt them down. So if you see a meteor target like that, get a freeze on them and melt them. And use more ammo than what you generally would if you have to. Because once that meteor guy goes to mid, he will spawn trap you at the door with his meteors. And it'll be difficult to take him down because there's snipers and then there's a cabal and all that stuff. If in doubt, use super. I don't see anywhere where we need to really use a super here. So if in doubt, use a super. You can willingly use your super sort of anywhere in these 3 sections, in this entire section. There's no directive to say, right, you must use your super here. We've got a mine bane here, which is interesting. If you do get a mine bane like that, just be careful, because obviously when you kill them, the mines go everywhere, or should do. But yeah, we're not using heavy here because we don't need to. Look, the barrier's just getting melted. Like, we're applying so many elemental buffs there. So we're not only freezing with the turret, plus with the extra freeze from the artifact mods, plus with shatter damage when those crystals are frozen, plus sever from the melee, radiant from the melee, kinetic tremors from the scout, debuff fire the grenade launcher. There's so much stuff going on at once, the barrier just falls over. To a scout, the next section can be awkward, so let me narrate on it because it's quite important. So you want to deal with these 2 phalanxes and then the turrets, right? There's 3 turrets. You need to take out the 3 turrets, cabal turrets, because they'll melt you down really quick. No matter what your power is, you'll still get melted even if you're 20-30. So be careful with it. You're going to get it should be. I don't know if there's RNG with the VIP in this room because I've had a solo one every time today. So it used to be that you would get either the Scion or the solo guy. You maybe still do get a Scion. I have yet to get him though on this section. But in actual fact, it's fine. So it's up to you whether you take the solar shield or the barrier first. It depends on circumstance and where the barrier is situated. But if you get a good... Our nade just missed that platform, so that's unfortunate. But if you do get good RNG, try and take the barrier first. Once the solar shield guy is killed, listen for audio cue, the Cabal grunt, right? It will spawn these these gladiators. Now I'm going to pop a super for it because there's no liberty to need a super for anything here. So I may as well use it on the annoying gladiators because once they spread out, they just get hard work. So I think doing it in that way, just backing up on yourself, 180, that was close, backing up 180, super the gladiators, and then you can continue because your turret's going to do everything for you. Barriers, they melt to a turret alone. So, you could use a super for something else. You don't have to have a super for a barrier. Look at how quickly we're killing them. Also, as well, pop your transcendences. You're getting plenty of them. But it's just silly how much damage. It's not silly, but it's just crazy to me how much damage that you do when you've got this chest plate with the turret applied. So we'll clear up this room, the rest of it. There was actually a turret still alive. So I said to you, kill the turrets. I actually missed one turret, so we'll get him. That could have been dangerous. On the old GM rotations, rocks could kill you. Gravel from this vehicle, because we're actually on a big vehicle, can kill you. The gravel, or used to be able to. That isn't a thing anymore. That's completely gone. Whether the rocks can hit you, that is a thing. But because over time they've made it so that being bumped into a wall doesn't kill you anymore, which it used to, it won't. And if a rock did hit you, it'd leave you one shot if it knocks you into a wall. We'll get a turret in that room right away to spawn kill. Our goal here is to keep spawn killing all the ads at the entrance. It controls the entire room, helps you do it quicker. If you don't do it exactly like that, it'll just be a little bit longer you clear on this bit. It'll just mean that the unstop starts to push you out here and stuff. So the quicker you get those nades in and spam that void damage, we're getting that ability surge. So we're able to spam 2-3 nades back to back. And they're not just general nades. They're OP damn stasis turrets with a winter wonderland surrounding them. Right? Literally. There's so much going on with it. So, yeah, take advantage of this mod. It's in actual fact making the GM easier if you use said void weapon. This would not work the same if you used a void scout. It wouldn't be as good because you wouldn't fill that void hunger as quick, the void starvation that is. You can literally fill the void starvation with 2 shots, even 1 shot if it's a good enough shot. You fill it and you get a 20-second ability buff, which is crazy. So take advantage of it. I will see this as a hindrance to some builds though. It'll definitely be a hindrance if you're not using some sort of void weapon in your loadout. So even though it's not void surge, get some sort of void weapon, especially the one that does damage over time like the one I've got. I'm going to pop a nade down, then rally. Pop a nade down, then rally, because you get ability energy. You don't get ammo, but you get ability energy back. So I've got my turret back. Noise. So we'll get 2 Anarchy on the boss. Triggers for this boss are as follows. Left and right add spawn in. You can try and spawn kill some of them like this. We'll try and do some chip damage in. But we're going to actually use super because we have no light. We don't need to use it on the boss. We've got great damage on the boss. So I'm going to use it here for safety. It's for consistency. It's just so that we don't wipe. Right? There's a low chance of wiping on a Warlock, especially with a lockdown build like this, but it's just worth your while. It's a smooth transition, right? Because as soon as the ads despawn, or you've killed them, sorry, the boss will then go into the Meteor build. He's basically a big Bane at this point. Probably this is what inspired Banes, because Proven Grounds was created before Banes. Banes has only just come out. But I think this probably inspired Banes. Because Banes do this. This is one of their moves. So what we now do, our rotation is left and right. So he's going to keep doing his fireballs. You can wait out the fireballs, because eventually he stops doing it. The meteors, that is. But we don't need to do that. The rotation is much quicker if you just do this. Left and right. Do damage. Keep popping nades. Keep doing damage with your Void, GL, and your Scout. And you're just melting pretty quick. We could pop a Transcendence here, but what I would say to you is keep your Transcendence as a backup unstop function. So if you mess up on your double twin unstartable champs, your Transcendence is a backup mini super, right? So don't worry about like not optimizing every single Transcendence super you get. Sometimes it's better to sit on one. It's not always the way to like sort of spam it right away. Not on a Warlock at least. On a Titan it's a little different because you got that consecration build going on. But like with a Warlock you can sometimes hold a Transcendence as a backup if super fails. As a mini backup plan. Especially if it's a critical moment like it is on double unstops. So we're coming to double unstop phase and that's when the boss will go immune. We're going to be on right hand side. This is routine. You can be on left. It's up to you. Get it to the, at the door and then spam Anarchy. Well, 2 Anarchy and then super. We're going to do a bit of ability damage, but not too much. You can just literally use Anarchy and not use the super, and it lasts longer. Because obviously Anarchy will stun unstops. But in actual fact, we did enough to kill both unstops, and it wasn't perfect play. Well, it was good play. It's just that I was actually using too much of my Song of Flame. If I run it back, I would use far less of it, and then just let Anarchy and Baton do the work, as opposed to starting to do, you can do the odd finger snap and the odd nade, but only a couple, not too much, because it'll just go quickly, and you won't kill both unstops. You'll definitely kill one, but you want to try and at least damage the second one. And then this is where you stand. So now it's a waiting game, and I recommend that you do wait it out, because it's going to be difficult for you solo-wise to go and get the shield, the bubble, the Cabal bubble, whilst he does his solar flare attack. So just wait on his solar flare attack. There's no need for you to sort of, commit, unless you're doing a world record speedrun, are you, on the solo GM? If that's the case, you don't need to watch this video, right? Which I think 99% of you will not be doing that. 1% of you will be doing it, maybe, trying to get a speedrun on it. Well, okay, your strat might change. You might want to pop a Song of Flame to then tank the solar balls to then take down the Cabal bubble. That's almost certainly possible and would be a strat, but once you start trying to go super fast in GMs, the prism of mistakes tightens up. Okay? Yes, you can do things to a certain faster degree, but then, okay, you need to start know what you're doing at that point. Whereas if you don't know the base knowledge of the GM, then you just need to wait out the meteor attack. That is it. So Anarchy does a good job of dealing with the bubble, right? When you get opportunity on the boss, when he's not looking at you, go in there, put a Anarchy at the base of the Cabal generator thing, whatever it is, and it breaks. We'll pop a Transcendence here because we have not got super, and it's just a good way to get shot of these ads, right? Because the boss is a threat, so your only thing that you should be doing is going left and right like I am doing. That's the only thing. You should never go into the middle of the map, not until all ads are dead, right? This is the safe way of dealing with Proven Grounds, right? While spamming your nades, get a turret in there. It controls the boss. It also allows you to understand where he is, because if he comes round the corner and stomps you, you're dead. If it's a direct stomp, if your radius is 5 meters or so out, you'll just take half damage or a little bit more than that, yeah, which isn't too much of a problem. But you can get caught off guard. You could get unlucky. You go around the corner, the boss is right there. But if you're doing the turrets and the Anarchy at the boss, you know where he is at all times, basically, because you can see the damage numbers. It's tracking him. So that's actually interesting now that I think about it, because there's no radar, right? but there was a radar last week's GM on Lightblade, which in actual fact I actually quite liked having a radar on GMs, and now we haven't got one. It's like, oh, we're back to that. It's because it's chaff is on, so radar is disabled. I don't know how I feel about chaff being a GM modifier anymore. After having played GMs with radar, I just think it's a nuisance to not have it, and I think players learn and radar with PvE, which yes, that is a skill set on its own, especially when you're playing, at high end stuff. I just think teaching players to use their radar effectively is better than not having one at all, because they're trying to like scare players. It's basically like, oh, there's no radar, there could be a thrall around the corner, it's blackout like the old days. All that novelty's gone. They just need to maybe, I think, remove chaff. It's not something that's a competitive PvE mod anymore. It's just some weird old outlook that they've had from 2018, 17 that they need to get rid of. We're well on from that now, and the old radar not having one thing is just a nuisance. That's all it is. I know they're trying to make it suspenseful for people, especially if you're in closed rooms and you don't know where the ads are and all that stuff. But look, just remove chaff. It's not a good mod. So the boss has been really favourable to me. Make sure that you have super and a backup transcendence, like I was saying before. The boss as well zones out. Okay, he has an ADHD problem. He will zone out after the meteors have finished. And wherever he is located, he will zone out. He may start to move if you push him too much. But if you're fighting from a range like you just saw, he won't move around. He'll actually stay still. This is the same as what it was like when Proving Grounds was first created. He just zones out, right? But if you start to push him a little bit, you start to look. Watch him push. He should push. Yeah, there you go. So I pushed him too much. Although he TP'd there as well. So we need to make sure we got our super and we're ready. So we're going to get a turret down on right hand side. You can do this on left if you want. Get it down right away. Pop Transcendence. Do 2 Anarchy. Right? And then you need to melt this. Make sure that unstop dies. Make sure that unstop dies. And then we'll do another 2 Anarchy. Right, we'll maybe do another 2 before we leave. I know that 2 Anarchy is max damage, but by the time we go down here, right, so the goal right there was to do chip damage to the second unstop. Kill if we can. Great if you can, but if you can't, you can't. Make sure that you get to back here, because the boss's void attack will melt you in 2 hits. Because of the void hunger. I haven't talked too much about the mod. I should. So the mod's fantastic, the void hunger thing. But there's the downside is if you have void starvation, you take increased damage from void. The boss's attack is void apart from the meteor. So he 2-shots you down here. It's crazy. 1 shot will get you absolute. Second shot you're done. In a super, no. But without super, yes. That's why you need to have some super left to run back here. Because the meteors have a range drop off, they can't hit you, and now you just wait out the meteors. It's part of the strategy. Which, by the way, I did test this today. Skyburner's Oath shoots through the Cabal shield. Right? But it's the old problem that I had on the old GMs. It's the same thing. You can't run anti-barrier scout rifle. If you run anti-barrier scout rifle with Skyburner's Oath, you cannot shoot through the shield. But if you don't have anti-barrier scout on, you can, therefore shooting down the bubble from range. So the upside is you'll be able to do the boss bubbles quicker. The downside is, well, you've got a damn Skyburner's Oath on for a full GM, and the gun's still not that good. And you're without barrier, which means that you would need to run double scout probably. And who the hell wants to run double scout rifle? Because you would need... Well, actually, no, you couldn't, because you wouldn't have barrier selected. So you would have to think of some other way of killing barriers. I know we've got turret and stuff, but it's a bit dicey to not have a barrier weapon on at all. So and that's the only motto, barrier scout. So if anyone has suggestions on how the Skyburner's Oath run would go without any barriers selected, then do comment and give me an idea on it. But I can't really think of a good way of doing a Skyburner's run with no barrier. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then it doesn't matter too much to you. It's to the people that are in the know and know what I'm on about. But yeah, Skyburners does burst bubble, but you cannot have barrier mod on your artifact. So it's kind of like, well, not getting anywhere with it. You may as well just have Anarchy on, because Anarchy will one-shot the generator anyways. You just need to wait for the boss to zone out. When he zones out, get that Anarchy shot on. You need to stay still. That is critical to know. You must stay still, right? If you stay still, it causes the boss to zone out. And he doesn't know where you are. Basically, that's what ends up happening. But if you're jumping about trying to do it, he's going to keep spotting you and keep the never-ending cycle of you not being able to get the generator will occur. So, last wave of enemies. This oven thing that we're in as well, it will... I still don't know how it works. After all these years, the oven thing, I still don't know when it knocks on and when it doesn't. I honestly don't know, or I can't remember, because there's things I forget over the years. I maybe used to know how it works, but look, it's off now. And there's no real cadence to it. Like, like, is it off for 30 seconds, on for 30 seconds? Not that I really need to know, because you just jump back and forth. So it's not something that I absolutely must know. If I don't know how the oven works, then I die. Certainly not, but it would be nice to know, what is the cadence of it? Because it does feel a little bit random at times. The oven thing, that is. Because it's off right now. So once all ads are down, you can then just rotate with him. Now, depending on how well you've managed your ammo, will make the final phase easier. Because he's a constant threat. His AI path changes from phase 2 and 1. So phase 2 and 1, he doesn't push you as much. On phase 3, he pushes you all out warfare. He will push and try to stomp you. He might sometimes teleport with the bug. If he teleports on top of you and stomps you, game over. That's game over. So, yeah, we need... I'm Void Starvation. I'm a 2-shot, so we're a glass cannon. Remember, we're a glass cannon because of Void Starvation. He 2-shots you. So we need special ammo. So it's kind of an interesting mod that, like, oh, if we don't have a Void weapon on, he 2-shots you because of Void Starvation. But when you get rid of the buff, boom, you've got an ability thing. Yeah, I really like it. I really like it, but again, it might hinder certain builds if you haven't got a Void thing on, so it's a double-edged sword. That's what this mod is. But I hope that mod makes sense to you. We pop super at the end. That's the solo GM, the meta run for this. Hope you get your clear fast. Thank you.